Readers at home can follow a short story along the right of the screen. Now, let's play Pauper using red and white vampires. Our two most important creatures are Bloodcrazed Neonate and Martyr of Dusk. Both have 2 power and 1 toughness. But when Martyr of Dusk dies, we create a 1/1 vampire with lifelink. Also of note, Bloodcrazed Neonate continues to stack +1/+1 counters each time it deals combat damage to a player. For 2 mana, these creatures often trade favorably in the early and mid games. For a single white mana, a good turn 1 play, Thraben Inspector gives us a soldier with a clue token. We can use it to draw more cards in the early, mid, or late game. In popular literature and movies, vampires typically elude their hunters. Skyblade of the Legion and Insolent Neonate both represent this kind of evasion. The former has flying, while the latter has menace. Importantly, we can discard a card, sacrifice Insolent Neonate, and draw a more important card. Alexander's artwork for this vampire helped inspire the short story. Two copies of Bold Impaler and a playset of Sanguinary Mage helps us apply pressure throughout the game. On turn 1, Bold Impaler works well as a small blocker, but gains more powerful when we have more mana available. Or we could use that mana to cast non-creature spells, thus triggering prowess for our vampire wizard. At 3 mana, Queen's Commission becomes our most costly spell in our deck. With it, we can create 2 1/1 vampire creatures with lifelink. This sorcery spell triggers prowess, while also fielding 2 lifelink creatures to help ward off against early game damage. Our next 2 spells really help motivate the Vampire Tribal mechanic. Vampire Zeal gains a Vampire First Strike and +2/+2 until the end of turn, while Vampiric Fury gains all vampires we control +2/+0 and First Strike. Please do not underestimate the value of quick combat math using instant speed spells. Remember, these 2 spells also trigger prowess on our Sanguinary Mage. Our final 4 copies of main deck spells include Coordinated Barrage and Lightning Bolt. The latter needs no introduction to the Pauper format. Coordinated Barrage, however, provides us a unique late-game opportunity against attacking or blocking creatures. For a single white mana and at instant speed, we can target an attacking or blocking creature. Then, we choose a creature type among permanents we control. For example, we may pick vampires, of which there are 20 in our deck, or soldiers, of which there are 12. Coordinated Barrage will deal damage to our target creature equal to the number of permanents of the chosen type we control. In the late game, Coordinated Barrage can deal more damage than a Lightning Bolt to creatures. With our story and main deck complete, let's look at our sideboard. It includes many expected answers to the metagame. Celestial Flare sidesteps hexproof creatures. Circle of Protection Blue helps us avoid damage from many blue flyers or ninjas. Electrickery deals damage to large armies like elves or other tokens. Fragmentize destroys artifacts or enchantments. Magma spray exiles a creature that otherwise would have died. Its 2 damage dealt is not insignificant given the scope of Pauper. Relic of Progenitus helps shut down graveyard shenanigans. We can draw a card from it as well, and need not fear any exiling of our own graveyard since we have no such strategies. Let's discuss our land base. With an equal distribution of red and white spells, we have an equal number of mountains and plains. 4 Evolving Wilds helps us thin our deck while finding any extra mana we may need based on cards in hand. With 22 lands, we have an 87% chance of dropping 2 lands by turn 2. With a low converted mana cost, we expect to field early and frequent threats. Aside from Celestial Flare in the sideboard, no other spell requires having a double color mana cost. Vampires drink blood, but I prefer a refreshing cola. In the same vein, please share what personal preferences you have regarding pauper vampires. When you're making a comment in the section below, make sure you're subscribed to the channel for new pauper content. Now, let's see how our vampire tribe fares in an online match. Hello, I'm Pappy Pauper. I'm a father of 4 who plays Magic the Gathering using only commons. We begin our game keeping a hand with lots of red cards and immediately applying pressure using our 1/1 Insolent Neonate with Menace. Soon after, a Bloodcrazed Neonate hits the battlefield. Our opponent plays a flying creature. We have very few ways of managing that aerial assault. Notice that our Bloodcrazed Neonate attacks every turn if possible, and will automatically enter combat without us having to tap it. Our opponent begins to play what looks to be the Professor's Exalted archetype. I wonder how well they'll be able to pilot this deck. We play an aggressive strategy, forcing our opponent to block. They could not singularly block our Insolent Neonate. We play Vampiric Fury, triggering prowess on our Sanguinary Mage, and make some good trades. Our opponent takes a moment to sift through the cards looking for lands. With Core Skyfisher, they return that land-seeking card back to hand to play again in a future date. We have no problem trading life totals, damage output, because ours can be more aggressive. Oh look, here are our 2 lovers from the story my kids and I made. Yes, this does look like the Exalted mechanic with the Squire and the travel preparations. While it's not a favorable matchup, our Bloodcrazed Neonate forces us to attack. With 1 card in hand, I wanted to bluff. It's always advisable to wait until after combat to play a creature unless it has haste or some other relevant special abilities. Again, with 1 card in hand, I wanted to push the psychological envelope, making our opponents reconsider what we may actually have in hand. Here they have another flyer and apply 1 Rancor to it. We might be able to outrace them, but that lifelink creature, now with 2 Rancors, becomes a problem. I wonder why they didn't attack. Their life total is at 7, but lifelink would have provided a good insulation. Our Thraben Inspector and immediately cracking a clue allows us to draw into what will become our victory condition. I had hoped for a lightning bolt. Here we go, and our opponent tries to block, but Vampiric Fury gives our vampires first strike and us the concessionary win. What new stories will you and your cards tell? Until next time, this is RW Pauper, encouraging you to be uncommonly magical.